My name's Lizzie Rossiter and I'm the Senior Events Officer at SSAFA, the Armed Forces charity.
And my name's Georgia Oliver and I am the Senior Special Events Officer at SSAFA, the Armed Forces charity. We are very proud of our relationship with Battle Proms. We formed the partnership in 2018. It's a series of 5 events that take place around stately homes all over the country. It's a very quintessentially British picnic in the park, Spitfire displays, explosive fireworks like the crescendo with the orchestra. It's a real kind of feel-good, military, patriotic series of events that kind of, I don't know, they make you feel so good when you're there, and and it's such a fantastic turnout of people, usually around kind of 10,000 people there waving their Great British Union Jack flags, and it's amazing. We're really, really proud to be part of it.
So your amazing team helped us design Jane's Bear. Essentially, so SSAFA has never really had an official sort of mascot. And I remember sort of brainstorming with your team about having some kind of mascot. And so we came up with Jane's Bear. And so he basically, what we've done is we've put an NFC chip, QR codes onto the bear. And so we used him to basically just offer our supporters another way to make donations at the event. It was amazing to have him on a team. It was definitely a bit of a talking point. I know that some of the younger members of the volunteer team definitely loved sort of walking around with him. And it definitely drew sort of younger children in as well. So it gave us a chance for really sort of like meaningful discussions and interactions with people there that we might not necessarily have had if it was just kind of, your traditional bucket. Because this was the first time that we'd done it, we weren't sure how sort of the crowd were going to be behaving. But because of COVID, and obviously it's accelerated everyone's sort of like understanding of what QR codes are. And also, as I say, just because it's so easy to use, every volunteer and member of staff could really confidently sort of interact and talk people through how they would make that donation or start the journey using the tech. As I say, it was a really lovely chance for engagement with lots of people. So I think people found it quite easy to kind of engage and get people's attention with using them, which was really nice. And obviously it helped increase the fundraising total, which was lovely.
I think it also gave us, having them on the bears, it gave us the opportunity to kind of move around the crowd more, and because you don't have a clunky kind of contactless machine that you're worried about, and bearing in mind these events, they're at the most amazing stately homes, which are gorgeous, but they're not the most well known for their good Wi-Fi signals or kind of 3G signals. So I think the fact that we weren't carrying like bigger kind of machines that we're relying that there's a good signal and stuff like that, we've got the QR codes. They're very light for the volunteers to carry around. It worked really well, and you're up against all kind of weathers as well. Also, with it being just after kind of COVID-19 or still in the midst of COVID-19, I think it reassured our volunteers, not as well as the audience, and we felt an obligation obviously to keep our volunteers and our staff as safe as we can. So it was a good tick on the risk assessment, knowing that they've got a QR code, but they don't have to be, they can still be socially distanced using it. It makes the member of the audience feel more comfortable, volunteers more comfortable. We're happy that everyone's safe.
Less need to handle money and
exactly
physical cash and that kind of thing. So
it definitely ticked a lot of boxes. Especially after the past kind of 18 months, people were so excited to be out, an open air picnic, and they just wanted to chat. And I think, that feeling, they didn't have any cash on them, that feeling that they could still donate or enter the raffle or however they wanted to do it, and it was doing some good and giving back. I think it added to that feel good value of the event, and it was kind of contagious, I would say, at each event that we were in. Because we also used the QR code, the clever thing about the QR code that we used is we split it. So we created a fundraising page and a raffle entry page as well. So I think that I know we received really positive feedback on it. It was in the format that you could do both. You could donate and then you could enter the raffle as well. and it was quite a quick and easy process, and we'd captured all their data. So I think they were quite pleasantly surprised that, you know, they didn't have to sit and fill in a form or a ticket and things like that. I mean, we gave that as an option for those that didn't have the technology to do the contactless donation, but I think that the main feedback that I received was that they were surprised with how quick and seamless it all was.
Again, as part of the sort of design process, when we initially, I think, started working together, you guys did send us a step-by-step, really easy sort of infographic step-by-step, which we included, which we gave sort of volunteers, just in case anyone, you know, as I remember when we were sort of moving through the crowd, there were, you inevitably going to get some people that are like, oh gosh, what's this now? What do I have to do? But that was really simple, really easily sort of digestible, understandable, and quickly. It was like you know, there's music playing, it's a loud environment. Yeah. So just having that visual sort of key there for people that were slightly unsure, you know, and then you just kind of, it was, as you say, just quite seamless. So yeah, even for people that weren't perhaps as comfortable using it, there were options and the tools.
Because they were a bear and they were visual, it was really easy for like the event organisers and also, you know, the presenters on stage to be like, right, guys, if you see the SSAFA volunteers in the red t-shirts, they're holding the teddies. So it was kind of like a visual representation, and they were like, oh, okay, you know, that's how we do it. That's how we can donate. And it just, I think, made it easier to recognise different ways that they could donate. I think we were kind of blown away, really, with what we did manage to fundraise, the total that we fundraised. We brought in £45,877. The percentage that came out for contactless was it was a 13.6% increase. So I think we managed to raise over £6,000 from the original kind of targeted budget, which we were just using digital fundraising,
cash tech.
Yeah, so you know, that was over £6,000 that we wouldn't have had if it wasn't for the contactless payment methods.
But it just meant that we could kind of, you know, obviously raise more and offer different ways to start people on that SSAFA journey with us. But also, obviously, you know, we used the raffle, and we had the teddy for people to make donations and just find out a little bit about what we were doing. So I think it really helped kind of like root the event in with the charitable cause.
The way that it worked really well for us was capturing the data, you know, on the back end of Good Thyngs. It was really useful because, you know, you could personalize your message to them and say thank you, and it just made, so basically how it worked with Battle Proms is you've got your host on stage, and it made life so much easier because what they wanted to do was give a fundraising total and an update throughout the event. So it was really useful for us to go into the back end of Good Thyngs and be like, right, okay, this is where we're at right now. So easy, so quick to find, and just constantly updating. So no kind of refresh. It made life so much easier. It was just such a good solution. And it fitted in so well with the kind of ethos, that friendly ethos of the event as well. You know, who doesn't love a teddy bear?
Yeah.
I think don't be afraid of using QR codes and explaining kind of how they work, because, you know, Good Thyngs provide all the information, all the support. You know, we pretty much had 24/7 support, because
it's been second to none. Absolutely, yeah. And not just this event either. I think, you know, definitely before lots of our other kind of big major events, there have been a few sort of near misses, and the team have just been on call 24/7, which has just been ridiculously helpful. Nothing's ever too much of an ask. So yeah, and it just
go for it.
Definitely. And especially in this sort of, you know, this time and this sort of horizon, you need to diversify the ways that you're sort of offering, you know, people ways to support what you're doing. So yeah,
make it as interactive as you can, because, you know, you do see QR codes. I mean, nowadays you see them everywhere, but I think if you've got a more interactive or visual poster that they're on, it's going to make you, it's more intriguing to kind of to want to scan your phone on against the QR code. And I think if you can also make the digital side of it, so the page that the supporter would enter, as visually fun and exciting as you can as well, you know, it keeps the momentum up. You know, that supporter journey is, so they're like, oh, okay, and so if I click through here, oh wow, and if I click through here, rather than kind of, you know, being enticed into this nice QR code and then, oh, it's a really boring page, you know. I think go crazy with your visuals and your information. And
I just think events at the moment is so uncertain, and we're not sure, you know, what normal is going to be anymore. So as we sort of move into hybrid events more and more, I think it's just really important to have a really strong sort of digital element to all your events, and Good Thyngs definitely have just helped us do that across the whole events portfolio. So,
and I would also, you know, don't be afraid to use them. You know, so we used James Bear and had him with us the whole time, but, you know, put it in brochures or like event programs, you know, all your supporter comms, your digital comms. You can use these. You don't just have to kind of use them as a printed format. You can use them digitally in emails and things like that. So they're, I suppose, kind of in your subconscious, you're like, oh, okay, so that links to that. And it's just such the data that comes in, because you can log it to a specific event. You know, it's just all there, and it's all tidy and ready for you. So if, you know, your head of fundraising or head of accounts say, we want to know how much that event raised, it's all there specifically for that event, and you know, you don't have to kind of trudge through it all and try and work it out manually. I think don't be afraid to use them, and use as much of it as you can in what you can.